Large-scale marijuana grows increasing in the Northwest, and we seem to be seeing more of those here in Central Oregon as well. I'm Dave Adams. I talked with Rob Emerson of the Central Oregon Drug Enforcement Team after Wednesday, August 26th. Now, that particular day, 2 marijuana grows in 2 different homes in Bend were raided by the code team. A total of 291 plants were confiscated. The second grow was discovered as the person involved in that grow was visiting the first growing location that was in the process of being raided by police. Now, Rob, there seems to be a lot of these grows going on. What's happening here?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons. One, they are big money makers. You know, there's a huge demand for marijuana, or seems to be here in Oregon, and so people are making a lot of money doing them, and I think typically people feel they're a little less risky, and sometimes the penalty is a little less steeper than if they're selling methamphetamine. And so sometimes we see this trend where they're shifting to the marijuana just because it seems to be able to sell easier, and chances of getting caught seem to be reduced a little bit more.
Rob, last month, 14,500 plants were unearthed in this huge marijuana grow near Stevens Mountain in Jefferson County, worth about $50 million. We were told that there was indications it was connected to the Mexican drug cartel. However, these smaller grows, you say, are more apt to be sold in the local area.
Absolutely, yeah. Typically when we see these a little bit, obviously a little smaller scale than the large outdoor ones, typically that marijuana is going right into our community. They can get rid of it awfully quick within the community, and they set up their grows to where there is constant, there's cycles where there's a certain amount of plants constantly ready to be processed.
What can the public do to help? It just seems like there's a lot of this going on right now.
Well, I think just keep your eyes open, especially in these neighborhoods. If you're thinking that you smell marijuana, you probably are, and don't hesitate to give us a call. We see the things we see with marijuana grows are the same things we see with other drug houses, in that we have a ton of short-term traffic. You know, cars coming all times of day and night. We see a lot of those things. Another thing that we see real often with the marijuana is people tend to always have money, but they're always home, and they don't seem to have any job. That's usually a pretty good indicator that they're up to no good.
Rob, there's been a big publicity push against methamphetamine, and you see pictures in the media of people that have been addicted to meth, and you see rotten teeth and bad complexions, with the goal to get people off meth. Are we seeing people move from meth towards marijuana, and thus all these large marijuana grows?
Yeah, I think the main thing, why we see it, or see the prevalence of it, is it's more socially acceptable for whatever reason. Oregon's laws aren't real strict. We have the medical marijuana program, and so marijuana is very prevalent, and for whatever reason it seems to be more socially acceptable. So I think people are more willing to use it, and they don't fear that that label of a drug abuser. Even though, as we know, it's very addictive, and it does have some serious side effects.
As the economy has gone down, has your work at the code team gone up because people are needing to make money, and some people who are kind of on the fence there decide, well, I'll just start selling drugs? So have you noticed that your workload's going up?
Absolutely. I don't think the economy has affected our meth. The people who are selling meth, it seems like the people who were selling meth before, even when the economy was good, they're still selling meth, and I don't see a huge rise in it. But marijuana seems to be on the increase. I think, especially with the housing market, how it's turned, we tend to see a lot of people who are gifted with building things. They can put together a grow that can produce quite a bit of money relatively quick. And so we are seeing an increase in these marijuana grows. And I've personally investigated them where they've told me, I've been out of work for 4 or 5 months and I need to pay the bills. And so we hear that a lot on the marijuana grows.
Rob Emerson of the Central Oregon Drug Enforcement Team, speaking about large marijuana grows that seem to be on the increase, both here in Central Oregon and across the Northwest. It's a developing story we'll continue to keep an eye on for you. I'm Dave Adams. Take 5 is a production of 1110 KBND Radio News. Depend on us.